Welcome to Sweet and Spicy. I'm Andrea, aka Sweet.
And I'm Carolina, aka Spicy.
And this is our first episode, so we're super excited to be here. Aren't you excited, Carolina?
I'm super excited.
She's particularly excited because I didn't really tell her like what we're talking about on this episode, so she's a little nervous because she's a planner and I'm more of a wing it person.
Yeah, I don't wing it. I don't wing anything.
How many pages of notes do you have for our next episode?
Like 5.
Right. And how many pages of notes do I have for any episode?
0.
There we go. So that's
how different you and I are.
But we are just amazing friends.
We are.
It's so fun, right? And so a little bit of the story I like of kind of who you are. Tell a little bit about your background because you're local.
So I grew up in Boca. I actually was born in Louisiana. I moved here when I was 5 when my parents divorced. My family is from Venezuela. I went to school here. Been here for 43 years, almost 44 years at this point. I have 2 kids. I work for the Delray Beach Chamber. Previously worked for the Boca Raton Chamber. I did leave here for a period of 6 years to go to Georgia for reasons I'm not going to say right now, but I hated it. Couldn't wait to come back home. It was the worst decision I made, but I'm glad to be back here, and I will never leave again.
There you go. So you're a local girl.
Yep.
Except for that 6 years that you'd like to do over if you could, but we can't, right?
Right.
And meanwhile, I've been here for just over 3 years. I'm a Californian. Don't hate me too much, people. And I moved here to open a business. And the business is our sponsor, Prime IV Hydration and Wellness. We're an IV vitamin therapy company here in Delray Beach. And that's how I met Carolina, is through the chamber. And so I remember telling you, and you accused me of being a stalker, but I did. I stalked you because I was like, oh, she's cool. I want to be friends with her. And it was through the chamber. So we kind of had our first like girl date. I think it was just over.
I don't remember our girl date.
Yeah, you do. We went to that bar in Boca.
That was the first time at Burton's?
Yeah.
Where we had the cauliflower?
Yeah, that you and I hung out. That was the first time it was just you and me. Like, we'd hung out with other people, but even then, I think that was kind of like our first time.
Do you know our anniversary?
I don't. It's memorialized on Facebook, though. I'm sure we can look it up.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that was a little weird.
Why is it weird?
No, it was weird that you were stalking me.
But how did I stalk you?
No, you told me. You're like, you pointed me out, and you're like, I'm going to be friends with her. And you were on a mission.
I told you that after the fact. You didn't know in the process.
What made you want that?
I think because I'm not really a drama girl. You know how some people are drama? And I think that you just were chill and like cool and like nice to everybody, which I think is funny because we had the conversation before that we can talk to a little about that, you know, you've said with the sassy or the spicy that you've been accused your whole life of being a little salty, sassy, spicy, bitchy, whatever you want to call it. And so, but I didn't get that from you. You know, I just think you're grounded. I think you're even keel. You are a planner. And I think that I need more of those in my life because I'm not so much a planner.
Right.
But I don't know. It just, there's a vibe. You get vibes from people, right? That you're like, oh, that woman's cool. Like, I want to hang out with her, you know? And I'll just say this and then I'll throw it over to you. But I think that maybe it was something too about the fact that you were single, you know, and that was not a conscious thought in my mind, but there was just a vibe that I'm like, I need to get to know her better. And it could have gone the other way. Who knows? Maybe it could have gone the other way if you were different, but we just seemed to hit it off.
Well, I think I'm that way because it's my job and I have to be nice.
Oh.
Not that I'm not a nice person, but I would have to say I'm extremely misunderstood. I've been misunderstood my entire life. A part of me doesn't care. Most of me doesn't care. But I think the reason is because I am extremely upfront and direct and blunt. And some people find that to be, you know, they find it to be very harsh, intimidating, whatever you want to call it. So bitchy, you know, mean, but that's not it. like to be honest, and I have no filter most of the times. I do have to watch myself occasionally, but it is what it is, and this is who I am. And you either get used to it, or people either love me or they hate me, and I'm okay with either one.
Yeah. But I think that's obviously I was moved here and I didn't have any friends. And I think that's one of the topics to talk about, because it is something different. Like, you've lived here, so many people, whether that's business or personal, like, so many people. So it is something when you move somewhere to make friends, especially later in life, like you're not in college anymore, for a long time, I'm not from here, and so many people, they're friends with people from college here. They went to Florida, wherever. And I think especially when you move across the country like I did, it's a different way of being. So, of having to come into a community to make friends. So it's just good to keep that in mind as you meet new people. Because I think a lot of times, especially so many people are moving to Florida that, yeah, they might need to hang out, they might need an invitation for coffee or something, Anyway, that's an aside, but I didn't technically stalk you. Like, I didn't know where you lived until later. Like, you invited me over when I actually went to your place. So it wasn't like that kind of creepery stalking. It was just, I like her, I want to be friends. And I kind of would like make a point to make sure to talk to you and that kind of thing,
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I love that. And I'm joking. I don't think you were totally stalking me, and it's flattering that you felt that way. That's probably the first time that I've had somebody do that. And honestly, it's so hard to make new friends at this age. Mm-hmm. People are set in their ways. They have their own thing going on. People are busy. When I was younger, I had, I was friends with everybody. I had thousands of friends, but people have, grown up. They've gotten married. They've had kids. They've passed away. But it's a lot harder now. I think people have smaller cliques. I think people have higher standards and expectations in certain areas when it comes to friendships, not relationships, but when it comes to friendships. And so, yeah, and the working for the chamber has been very beneficial in the sense that I meet hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Having worked for 2 chambers in 2 different cities has been amazing. And then growing up here. So that's the reason why you say, I know so many people, having grown up here, gone to different schools. I had different groups of friends, and just having worked for both chambers is the reason why, that's happened. And I've been blessed to meet so many amazing people. And a lot of my friends right now, those were established through the chamber. Not so it wasn't just about business.
Right.
If anything, it's been more personal. So yeah.
I mean, that's where I've met pretty much all my friends through the chamber, so it definitely is. And this is not a commercial for the chamber, although if you want to come join us, you should, because we're fun. But it just is a testament to, if you're in business or, looking to expand your network, it's not just about the business. And that, I do think, is a testament to Delray in particular, that it is about meeting people and expanding that network of friends, not just business acquaintances, And you're right. Like, in your 40s, I think whether you're married or single, like, married people tend to go hang out with married people, right? So that's another difference I think that you and I have seen of being single. Like, it's not always the invites to go to the concerts because, you're single. Who are you going to go with? So it definitely is a difference. And I think that's why, like, a lot of our friends are single that we hang out with. Not everybody, for sure, but a lot of our friends are single. Some of them are married and they still come out and have fun and then go see their husband later. Or their husbands come. It depends, right? Or their boyfriends. But it is a difference. And I'm not sure what to think of it, like maybe just awareness of people, of, like I said, of somebody might need an invitation somewhere. If it's a group of people hanging out, invite who you think may not want to come, because you never know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome because we were just out the other night, you and I, at Meisner with a few girlfriends, and one is married with kids. In fact, I went to high school with both of them, her and her husband, and her brother was one of my high school sweethearts. So it's weird and she's part of the chamber. So it's weird to, still be in touch with her and be partying with her. But then we've got one with, in a serious relationship that she's been in for a little bit. And then we've got you, not in a serious relationship right now. Me, just starting out in one, and then one that recently broke up.
Right. It is amazing the different stages.
Different stages completely, but we all seem to have some things in common and have a ball together. And at the end of the day, none of that matters.
Right.
So yeah, I love the dynamic.
I know. And I think the thing that it's just, these women are so funny. Like, so many of them are so funny. I won't say her name, but the person whose birthday it was, she called you and she'd had a few drinks, but she was like, "Get over here. I'm 55. I'm almost dead."
Right. Meanwhile, she looks the best out of all of us.
She's beautiful. It's so funny. And that's just it. We all have our moments of humor and these little, we just laugh and dance and play silly games. Like, we played hockey, the foosball hockey. Like, it was a riot. We had such a good time, and then dance. It was so fun. And I do think that those relationships are so important because, if COVID, not to mention the dreaded C word, but taught us anything, it's isolation is horrible, and that's why moving here in COVID, like it took a little while, but I'm so happy to have found this group of women and you in particular to be doing this. I think it's so fun. I drive you nuts, I think, with my text of, "Hey, what about this outfit? What about this outfit?" To the point where sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't do it. I'm like, oh, well, fuck it. So
I love being your stylist. It's great, but I'm going to have to start charging you soon for this.
Right. Charge you. I'll pay in pineapple high noons.
Yeah, that's perfect.
No, it's fun. It's fun. But I thank you for that. It's good to have somebody to be able to do that with. So, yeah. And a little bit about my background is I'm, like I said, from California. I moved here to open this. Before I was in real estate in Colorado for a while, but I'm from California. I'd gone back there because of some family stuff and had been there for a few years before I came out here to open this business. And we're growing and expanding, so that takes up a lot of my time. I'm not married. I've never had kids. I am dating, so we're going to go into that later. But
I can't wait.
I know. I'm a little afraid with those 5 pages of notes. I'm not sure what's on all those notes. I only read, I think, 1 page.
I could go on for days.
It's your favorite topic, right?
It is.
I know.
Can't wait.
Lord help us. But, I think too, and so on one of the other things we're going to be doing is Nancy Reagan with the skincare tips. So like we have a little 14-day test kit from her. And have you started it?
I have not.
You haven't?
I didn't know when we were supposed to, and I was going to text her, and then I forgot.
Yeah. So I started like the day after I got it because I was too excited to wait. And I love it. It's amazing. So I'm very, very curious to see your feedback. And I don't know if you've seen Nancy lately.
I haven't seen her in a couple weeks.
Her skin is...
She's always looked like that.
I'm
beautiful.
telling you, it's different. It is off the charts.
Really?
Like, it's amazing. Amazing. So I'm super excited to be having her on down the road here. We're going to have her on once out of every 4-ish weeks. So once a month probably. But like, I've never met anybody with the knowledge that she has of skincare. And I just know for me, like that's one of why I opened Prime IV is because of health and wellness and anti-aging and longevity. I know you take a different approach to that than I do, which I think is a great topic of conversation too. Like I'm we'll say a little bit California hippie, which people think of California and they think Botox.
Right.
I don't do Botox. Probably will never do Botox, but I've done some other things that are way more natural. And I know, is that something you want to share? I didn't ask you this.
I think we'll save that for another episode.
Okay.
However, speaking of Prime IV, they are our sponsor. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you should probably speak a couple minutes on who they are and what they do.
Well, we do IV vitamin therapy. So, you've been in, you liked it, right?
I did.
Yeah. And the most popular drip that we've done since opening in December of 2020, as you can imagine, was our immunity armor because everybody's more aware of their immune system these days. But we have the gamut. We do weight loss. We do Hangover drips, that's what everybody knows IV vitamin therapy for because it started in Vegas like years and years ago. And honestly, you know, like first responders and people in the ERs have been doing banana bags for years because they had access to it because they were hungover and had to go to work, right? And the rest of us didn't have access to it. But honestly, 95% of my clientele comes in for wellness. They want to feel better. It's 65% of my clientele's women, which is actually pretty high across the brand, I think, for Delray. But I think men are just as interested in looking youthful too, you know? And honestly, they have an easier time of it sometimes because they have higher testosterone and that just does magic that us women don't always get access to. So, but they're still interested in looking better and feeling better, right? But yeah, we're in downtown Delray. You can come see us. We'll have a code that you can get a discount if you want to come try us for the first time. If you listen to our show, we might give some freebies away, but you have to listen.
And for all the ladies, you have to try glutathione.
Oh, that's your favorite.
The best thing ever. Yeah.
So tell your story of it, because that's good.
So glutathione, I honestly couldn't tell you what it does or, you know, the science behind it, but every time that I've gone in and gotten a shot, within hours, somebody is saying something about my skin. I remember we were at an event, summer soiree, I think it was, and you guys had a booth, and they gave me a shot, a little push right there, and I think within 20 minutes, somebody said, "Oh my gosh, your skin looks amazing. It's like glowing." And I was like, it was my first time, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is not happening. Did you pay this person to say this?"
Nope.
So, and I know you didn't because you don't know them.
I have no idea who it was.
But yeah, amazing. And so from that moment on, I was hooked. I should do it more often, but I absolutely love it. I get compliments every time I do it. So yeah, glutathione is where it's at.
Yeah. So I'll just say real quick, the science behind it is a master antioxidant. So it's like one of the favorite antioxidants in the body. And it's literally the liver's favorite food as fuel. So the liver is responsible for detoxifying the entire system, right? It takes one for the team, so to speak, of any toxins have to be filtered by the liver. So when the liver gets clogged, which we do a lot of clogging, like sometimes cocktails, right? It has to clean out. But also you've got all these environmental toxins, whatever. The liver needs support. Glutathione is support to that. Well, one of the ways our skin is our biggest organ in the body, and one of the ways that it comes out is through the skin. Like toxins can come out through the skin, right? So that's why glutathione is so good for the skin, because it's just helping that. And antioxidant activity too really shows on the skin, because it's basically, think of oxidizing as like an apple rusting. You know how you get the brown on the apple, like rust. That's what oxidation is in the body, and it's happening at the cellular level. And we really just call it aging, and that comes out. So that's why glutathione is so good. And we have a lot of things that are anti-aging, which again is kind of why we went into this business, because I like all things anti-aging. So that's one of my passions.
Yeah, and you know, I have to tell you, when it comes to this stuff, initially I was a skeptic, and I don't believe in that stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's just about money. But I will tell you, again, the glutathione totally makes a difference. And then I was just telling somebody the story about how I was like on my deathbed for 6 days. I was so sick. I don't even know what I had. Maybe COVID. I can't remember. Anyway, I couldn't drive. I couldn't get out of bed. But the minute that I was able to, you said, come to Prime IV. Let's get you, you know, better. So on the 6th day, I drove there. I took my mom. She came with me, had an IV. And I think before I even walked out of the office, I felt 1,000,000 times better. And from that moment on, I was really, I mean, I've been a believer because I've done it a little bit, but that really sealed the deal for me. And I was on the mend from that moment on. So it was absolutely fantastic. And the massage chairs.
Yeah, we have grid massage chairs.
Yeah.
We'll have to post those because they're good. People come in and are like, can I just sit in this massage chair? Not today, because we're busy.
You have to come up with packages for that.
I know. You guys told me that from the get-go. It's so funny. I'll keep thinking about it. It's just they're in use with the IVs, and then, you know, when they go down, they're a real hassle to fix. So,
or at least your best friends get to go in there for 45 minutes for a free massage.
Well, that can probably be arranged because you know people. The perks of having a bestie.
Word, I promise.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, anyway, thank you for that. That was awesome to talk about my business. And I love being an entrepreneur. So I think that's also something too, we can talk about like our, careers and being an entrepreneur, all that, because it is different, You've had a few different positions in different companies, but you seem to always at the end come back to the chambers, even when you think you wouldn't.
I do. Not to make this about the chamber, but the one thing I love about the chamber is the connections you make, the friendships you make. I love to see people grow in their business, and I've seen so much business made between members. It's extremely rewarding. That's ultimately what our job is to help businesses grow, get people introduced to the right people. And I think we've done a really good job of that. So it's super rewarding. It's super fun. I mean, you basically get paid to network, and you make so many great friends in the process. So,
and you've been pretty extraordinary at your job. So how much have you grown the chamber? Because you're a membership director.
I am the membership director. I've been there for almost 4 years.
You started in COVID, right?
Started right after COVID. I remember, I had, funny story is I had a full-time job. I was working from home, and my dad, who initially was on the board of directors, who was also on the board of directors for the Boca Raton Chamber when I worked there, he called me and he said, oh, by the way, I told Stephanie that they need a membership director, and I put your name in the hat. And I said, what are you doing? I have a full-time job. Why are you telling people I can come work for them? And I said, I don't want to work for a chamber again. I'm done doing nights and weekends and events. It's exhausting. And so he said, just help them out until they get a full-time membership person. So I called Stephanie, who's the CEO, and within 5 minutes, I fell in love with her. She's amazing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to help you out as a 1099 until you find somebody, 90 days max. So after about the first month I was there, they had been struggling, obviously, because of COVID, and they had been struggling even before then. And they said, okay, let's see how this month goes. So I ended up doubling the numbers for June.
Like their goal numbers.
Their goal numbers. I can't remember what the number was, but I ended up doubling it. Then in July, the same thing happened. And it didn't take long for me to remember everything I loved about working for a chamber. And kind of at the same time, Stephanie was like, oh my God, I really don't want to lose her. Yeah. She's amazing, blah, blah, blah. So, her and I at the same time, I was like, okay, if you really want to bring me on, I'll stay. And she was like, I can't let you go. So we worked it out, and here we are 3.5, almost 4 years later. Yeah. I'm still there. Best decision I ever made. It's a phenomenal organization. And yes, so we've hit our goal 3 or 4 months early each year since I've started. And we've doubled our membership.
That's awesome.
Since I started. So, yeah.
And really, I mean, okay, we're talking about Prime Ivy in the chamber. A lot of people that know us know this, but some people out there won't know all this. But it's more a matter of it's part of your life, and it's definitely part of my life. Like, this is what we do most of the day, right? Like, so it's just more a matter of who we are. Like, that to me is why it's relevant to this podcast. And, I do think it's a testament of you can say that people love or hate you, but my experience of you and that story tells me that most people's experience of you, even if it's maybe at a surface level, but it is that it's people love you because they're not joining if they don't like you. And
I'll tell you what. Now that you mention that, so the one reason why I've been in sales my entire life, and I've always been extremely successful at my job in sales. I've always been promoted very quickly. And the reason being is for the same reason, because I'm so honest and genuine, and I'm not pushy. I am not the car salesman type of, salesperson. So I think people love that. I think they sense that. They see that. I'm the kind of person, if I'm trying to sell a membership to you, great. The chamber will do a great job for you. But when you're ready, reach out.
Yeah.
And I'll follow up with somebody once or twice. And if they don't join, 99% of the time, within 6 months, they're coming back. Mm. And I really do feel like people, and I've been told this, it's the integrity and the honesty and the not being pushy. People love that. If the minute, even when I walk into a store and somebody is very aggressive or pushy, I'm running the other way.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I know what that feels like, and I am not going to be that person.
I think most people don't like that, for sure. And the other thing, too, that comes to mind is they say there's a guy out there talking in the health and wellness world, and he says the thing you cannot fake is authenticity. Like, if you are authentic and genuine, people get it. Like, they pick it up. It's almost like it is, I think, a subconscious process in the body. And so you can't fake it. Like, and that is believing the words that come out of your mouth. You're not just full of it, So definitely comes across, So, you might have a little sassy. You might have some, like, driving words when you're driving and people cut you off. Because I know there was a story from that the other day that Isabel, your daughter, was telling me that was so funny. But
not my proudest moment.
It's all good. We all have them. What is up with all the horn honking in Florida?
I think people are, it's patience. I have no patience. People have no patience. I'm at a stoplight, and the minute it turns green, the person behind me is honking.
That's what I'm saying.
It's unbelievable. It's just, people are just, ever since COVID happened, I really do feel like people have lost their minds. There's no patience. I don't know. People can't be civil. They're angry.
It's not just a Florida thing, though, because other places,
I don't know.
it's not this way.
I haven't been anywhere else
it's
but
not
Florida.
This place on the West Coast, I tell you. You do not honk the second that the light turns green anywhere else I've been. Now, granted, I haven't been to, like, Jersey or New York recently. I did go to Boston, and it was similar, so it might be an East Coast thing. I don't know.
But I'll tell you what, the funny thing is about the stoplights is a friend of mine, actually, I worked with her at the Boca Chamber. She told me that every time she's at a stoplight and it turns green, she counts to 5.
To piss the person off behind her?
No, not at all. It's because of all the people running lights.
Right.
So she counts to 5 to make sure everything's good. And ever since she told me that, I do it every time.
Do you get honked at a lot?
All the time, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I got my daughter in the car. I'm trying to be safe. I'm not trying to get hit. And if you cannot wait 5 seconds, that's not my problem.
Because it is so true that people run red lights here like crazy.
All the time. They're not paying attention. They're on their phones. They're in a hurry. They're complete dicks.
I think they're just doing it. I think they're just doing it completely conscious of the fact they're running a red light most of the time. It is a different driving world down here, people. Just be warned, if you're coming to visit South Florida, it's a different world of driving as a Californian.
Completely.
Who learned to drive. Like, I drove in LA. I drove in San Francisco. Like, I drove in some gnarly places. And then you come here and you're like, oh, it's different. So
I think it's becoming more like New York. When I went to New York for the first time, Florida, I feel like used to be so much more slow and laid back and chill. And it's not becoming that way anymore. And when I went to New York to visit for the first time, my mom was living there at the time, and everyone was walking like a million miles an hour. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, chill out. Like, I can't walk that fast. We're just going to the cafe down the street. And my mom's like, that's how it is here. Everybody's going a million miles an hour. I'm like, I could never live here. Like, I'm very chill, laid back, take your time. And now I'm noticing here it's turning into more rush, go, go, go. Everybody's going a million miles an hour. And it's not my vibe.
Yeah.
But
we're going to bring the chill back to Florida. South Florida. So
I like it.
So believe it or not, we're basically ready to wrap this up. So you want to give a little sneak peek of our next episode? That's your favorite topic.
So our next episode is dating in our 40s, which is going to be super interesting because we're both kind of in the midst of that right now, and we have exciting things going on. And I love love and I love relationships, and I could talk about that shit for days. So I cannot wait.
That and court TV.
And court TV. Yeah, I'm a true crime freak.
Carolina's other second love besides her kids.
Yeah. 100%.
Whereas I like more of like the drama shows.
We'll talk about murder cases soon.
I do like murder cases, but good ones.
Right.
Right. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. This is Andrea with Sweet and Spicy Podcast, and I think we're good.
So stay tuned. We'll be back.